In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this wedding gown or ball gown or even a prom dress, whichever one you want to call it. And you can make it with the train like this one, or you can make it without, and they both will be freestanding. So let's get started. And also, to make the train, you're going to need a loom that you can take apart because we're going to do it like the peacock's tail. You'll need about 180 rubber bands, so let's get started. First, we're going to take a single rubber band and the fourth from the top, we're going to put a single rubber band, and then down the next peg you're going to just drop 2 single rubber bands, whatever color you're using for your dress. And I'm going to drop again another 2, 2, 2, and then 1. So you're putting your rubber band, so 1 on each end. These will be connector rubber bands, and then 2 on the center ones, and you should put it on a total of 2, 4, 6 pegs. And you can make your train longer by making more, putting more rubber bands on either side of the pegs. Make sure you put 1 on the end pegs and then 2 in the center for connector bands. So mine will be 8 lengths long. So now with a single, you're going to put it zigzag from the very first peg where your single rubber band starts up diagonally, and you're just going to continue like in a V shape, zigzag, just right down your row. So we're creating little zigzags or a little V. Right up and down your row from the first set to the center row. And you're going to continue that till you reach where your single rubber band on the end is and finish up your V. So that's what it should look like on your loom. And now we're going to continue from the center row to the top row the same way. Again, this will cover 8 pegs on the top. Just continue your zigzag. So that's what you should have. Once again, you're going to cover 6 pegs at the bottom, and on top there should be a total of 8. And now you want to take your accent color, and mine will be purple, and we're going to go at the top of each peg. We're going to cap it off, and I'm going to loop it 3 times to create 4 loops. So take your accent color and just loop it 3 times to create 4 loops. If you can't do that, just do 3 loops total. So continue on the end of each peg, and you can do it a different color if you want. I'm doing purple. I ran out of white, so I'm making my dress fuchsia, or this red violet color. That's what Rainbow Loom calls it. My last one. I looped each of those. There should be 8 of them to make this kind of lacy look on the end of our train. We are going to take, if you want to use a different color you can, we're going to take a single, and we're just starting to loop from the top to the bottom and just loop right down your row. connecting each other from the first to the second with a single rubber band. Okay, that's what you should have, and we're ready to loop. So what you want to do is go in the end peg at the top, and we're going to reach in, grab the bottom single pink, and looping it onto itself like that, and you should see the nice teardrop. Go to the next peg over, reach under the cap band, grab the single top pink. There should be two of them. Grab the single top pink rubber band. Mine's a little slippery, and looping it right onto itself. If your top goes to the right, take it to the right. If it goes to the left, take it to the left. So just reach under the cap band and grab this top single and looping it onto itself. And then reach back in, grab the last single and looping it onto itself, and just continue down the row till you get to the very end peg. It's a little tricky if yours is slippery like mine. Just make sure you fish out the top single and looping it onto itself. You should see teardrops as you're doing this. So as you're setting it up, it should look like a pyramid, and it's progressively getting smaller. If it's not that shape, then you didn't do it correctly. And once again, you want to reach in under the cap band, grab the top single, and then there should be two rubber bands. Grab the next single. And you can start at either end, it doesn't matter. So here I'm going to start on this end. Reach all the way under, grab the bottom single, and you should see the nice teardrop forming. Reach in, grabbing the top single, and then in that same peg, grab the last single, and again the nice teardrop. Continue to the next one, grab the top single, and reach in, grab the bottom single. Okay, now that you've looped everything and you have teardrops up and down, let's take the top pegs off carefully, and we're not going to take the bottom pegs off. Make sure you don't take the bottom rows off, only take the top rows. And now what we are going to do, we're going to shift the rows on our loom. So take it apart, and we're going to shift the front to the back. and make sure it's in the staggered configuration as you're doing this. Okay, and now you want to look at your configuration and you want to continue that diamond shape. So here we are coming down to 4 pegs. So on the end pegs we're going to put a single rubber band, and on the center peg we're going to put 2 single rubber bands for our connector bands. So now taking a single, we're going to start where the first rubber band is and going up diagonally like that, and once again we are zigzagging. And what you want to do now is reach in to your connector band underneath all the ones we looped prior, and we just want to go ahead and grab the single connector band from the end and looping it. So we connected our triangle formation or pyramid formation. Reach into the second peg, grab a single, any single, and loop it to either peg, either the left or the right, and whichever one you didn't loop it onto, connect it to the other one. Again, just continue like that down the row. Just take one, it doesn't matter where you put it. Just pull the single connector band and looping, and you should see zigzags down your creation. And the last one on the last row, there should be just a single band, and just looping it, and now you have that nice pyramid coming down. And again, you want to go in at the very top, grab the bottom single, and loop up and onto itself, creating the teardrop. In the side peg, there should be only 1 rubber band. Go into the next peg, grab the top single, and you should just only be pulling 1 single rubber band. If you're pulling more than 1, then you're doing it incorrectly. Reach in, grabbing the top single, and you should also see the nice teardrop and looping it onto itself. And the inner pegs, there should be 2 single rubber bands. So you want to reach all the way in, grab the top single, wherever it takes you, loop it there, reach back in, grab the last single, and loop it onto itself. My jelly bands here, it's hard to tell, but you want to always grab a single. And you can tell if you looped correctly, because once you pull you'll see a teardrop, and then just take it to where it's forming that teardrop. And the last one here, reach in, there should be just a single rubber band, and loop it right onto itself. And continue. And if you wanted to add little decorations on your train here, you can by doing the eye like I did on the peacock, but I'm just leaving it plain and classic. So in the center row, again, the side one should have just a single rubber band. Reach in, looping it onto itself. The center, there should be 2 single rubber bands. Reach in and looping each onto itself. Okay, now we should be done with that row. So this is the 4th row because there are 4 pegs, 5th and the 6th. And now you want to take the 6th peg, the rubber bands off the 6th peg, and don't take the rubber bands off the 4th peg. We want to work our way down to only having 2 pegs at the bottom. So take all the rubber bands off the other rows except for the 4th peg. And now once again we are going to pull our loom off, our rows off, pull the back to the front, leaving it in the staggered configuration, and the front to the back, making sure that the back of our train is pointing away from us. We're going to check our pyramid, and here this is the 4th, 3rd, and the 2nd, and we are about done. So for the 2nd one, we are going to check your pyramid, find your 2 pegs, and we're just going to put a single at the end of each because we are going to use it to connect it to our dress later. And once again, we're going to take it from where the rubber band sits, the connector bands, and start there and just zigzag. And there should be a total of 4 single rubber bands. So for the first row, you use new rubber bands. For the other row, we already have connector bands from up top. We're going to pull side one, connecting it, forming our pyramid. The center, there should be 2 rubber bands, pulling each. Just a single and onto itself, or onto the left or the right. Finish the other side. Turn to the back of your train, go in the top peg, grab the bottom single, and looping it onto itself. In the center, grab the top single and looping it onto itself. And the side one, there should be only 1 single rubber band, looping it onto itself. In the center row, this is our last one. Center, reach in, grab the top single, and then reach back in, grabbing the bottom single. So that's what you should have. Take the back rows off. So reach in, grab the bottom single, hold one side out, and kind of pull it to the front. And you should have 2 loops like that. And let it hanging. Again, the other side, pull the rubber band out, grab with your hook, and pull it out so the loops are out. And let's put it on our holding hook, the loops. And we can pull it off your loom to attach to our dress later. So that's what your train should look like. It should be 4 single rubber bands there. Put it aside, and now let's make the ruffles at the bottom. And if you don't want to make the train, you can make a total of 8 ruffles like you did, like I did on my octopus video or my ghost video, to make the dress stand up right on its own. So to make the ruffles at the bottom, we're taking 2 single rubber bands, and we're going to loop it twice to create 3 loops. Taking a single and pulling the looped bands onto that single, and get it on the hook like so. And now taking 2 single rubber bands and getting the loop bands onto there. So for the one without the train, you want to make a total of 5 of these, and then 3 of the other one, like the octopus. I'm going to make a total of 2 like this. So taking 2 and loop it twice to create 3 loops. Pulling a single through, looping it onto itself. Taking 2 singles and getting those bands onto the 2 single. Like that. So you should have 2 of these. And we're going to make, for the front of the dress, taking again 2 singles and looping it twice to create 3 loops. Same process. 2 singles, a single, and getting it on the looped rubber bands onto that single, like so. Taking another, and we're going to do the same thing, and we'll get 2 on the same one. So that, getting the looped bands onto the single. Taking 2 single rubber bands and getting these looped onto that 2 single. So you should have 2 of them on 2 single rubber bands, and you'll need a total of 2 of these. Let's create another one. Taking 2 single rubber bands and getting the loops onto the 2 single rubber bands. So that's what I have 2 on 2 single rubber bands and 1 on 2 single rubber bands for my dress. Put it aside for later. We want to make sure that our loom is in the staggered configuration with the arrow pointing down. To make the gown, we want to make sure our loom is in this configuration, and it will be a sleeveless gown. So taking a single, twist, double, and putting it from the center second to the third. Taking 2 single rubber bands, coming up diagonally on both sides. So from the second peg to the side first peg. And then we'll come down twice on both sides. Taking a single rubber band, and we're coming from the side third to the center fifth. And repeat on the other side, and then we'll fill in the rest of our dress down to the center peg. Let's make the bottom of our dress now, taking 2 single rubber bands, and we'll branch out diagonally on both sides. And depending on how long you want your dress, you can do it all the way down your loom. But I'm coming down both sides 6 times with 2 single rubber bands. And for the last one, we'll just add the 2 rubber bands with the 1 frill at the bottom. Just attach it on the last pegs, or the last 2 pegs. for the length of your dress. So that's what you should have. And now come down the center of your dress. We'll come down 7 times, since the sides we came down 7, including these frills at the end. That's what your dress should look like. And now we are going to add the train. So there should be 4 rubber bands on the hook for your loop, and you're going to attach it, one set from the left to the center and the other set from the right to the center. So there should be 1 single rubber band on each. So attach 1 set, 1 on the left and 1 on the center, and then the other side from the center to the right, and push it down. There's a train, and the back will be the bottom of our dress, so you want it like that. And now here's the front of our dress. We're taking the 2 single rubber bands with the 2 frills at the on it, and we're going to put it right on top of the pegs we put the train. So it should be attached from the left to the center, and the second one will attach from the center to the right. My second one, same thing. I'm now attaching it either way, from the right, one side on the right peg and one side on the center. We start at the center and then the right. Any order is fine as long as you attach it from this peg to this peg or this peg to that peg, so it stays together. And now let's put some holding rubber bands, taking a single, putting the triangle at the bottom right above our little frills, taking a single, twist, double, coming across on the second, and just continue putting holding rubber bands, creating little triangles, or the triangle all up our dress. Now at the top, we're going to take a single, twist, double, coming across from the 3rd peg to the 3rd peg. And here I added a little decorative on the top of the body, and you can do that, or you don't have to do that and leave it plain white or whatever color the dress is. I'm going to do that. For that, I'm going to take my color and loop it 3 times to create 4 loops. Taking my dress color, twist, double it, single, double, and pulling my little decorative onto the single I doubled, and this also acts like a holding rubber band, and putting it across from the 2nd peg to the 2nd peg, like that. Center it, and we'll pull it through later. And now let's loop. We're going to go under all these bands. We're going to grab the bottom 2, and the bottom 2 should go up to the next peg up. So grab the bottom 2 and loop it onto itself. You should see teardrops. Go back in on the other side, grab the bottom 2 and loop it onto itself. In the center, it's a little bit messy, but we want to reach in and we want to only grab the bottom 2. If you can't see it, pull it down and make sure you only grab the bottom 2, and once you do that, you should see the teardrop and looping it onto itself. And now we want to loop up the sides first, all the way to the center peg. So remember to always reach all the way under, grab the bottom 2, and looping it onto itself, you want to see the teardrops forming. Repeat on the other side. You always want to grab the bottom 2 rubber bands. Now do the center row. You want to always look to see that you have teardrops up and down your rows. If not, then you forgot to loop something. This is the last for the bottom of my dress. I see teardrops up and down. Now I'm going to reach in that center peg all the way under, and I want to grab the top two that's going to loop up. So reach in, grab the top two bands. Once you pull it, you should see the teardrop. Loop it onto itself. Go back in, grab the single, pull it. Mine's coming to the left. And the last single to the right. And let's continue the side one. Make sure you pull any holding rubber bands. Grab the bottom two bands and looping it onto itself. Finish the other side. And finally, the last set of rubber bands in the center, and we'll be done. Take your single, if you want to use purple or your decorative color you want, or your accent color, and we're going to do a slip knot rubber band, pull it through, and tie it off. Let's take it off the loom. Here's your dress, and you want to pull the decorative front piece out from in between. So there's your dress. You want to reach in and pull the center decorative piece out, but not too much. These bands are jelly, so they're a little very slippery. So there's your ball gown or wedding dress or wedding gown or prom dress or prom gown, your strapless dress. And it should be freestanding with the train in the back. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.